Other things about the cranial nerve, you know about the trigeminal nerve, know the muscles that are innervated by that, know its sensory function. Let's see, what are the tracks we talked about? Cortical brainstem or cortical bulbar, remember those? Those that go from the cortex directly to the brainstem. So multiple choice, I think all of our questions were multiple choice last time. Is that right? This time we're going to have some matching as well. And so you'll match cranial nerves, their names to their functions, or different parts about those nerves. So that'll be usually a pretty good section that people do very well on. So, and then the auditory system. Don't forget about all the different components of the auditory system: the organ of corti, the middle ear ossicles, the spiral ganglion, the cochlea itself. Where is the primary auditory cortex located? Those kind of things. And then today we talked about the utricle and the saccule, those otolith organs. What are they responsible for? What is the semicircular canals responsible for? What is nystagmus? Those kind of things. With the eye, all the different parts of the eye. You know, what are the rods sensitive to versus what are the cones sensitive to? The orientation of the nerves as they leave the eye. You know, it goes from the neural retina to the ganglion cells and the axons, and then they leave the optic disc. It's that whole pathway that it goes through. In that visual field, which parts of the visual field pass through the chiasm? Remember that? We talked about. Let's see. And then, because a lot of this has, early on we talked about those tracks, those descending motor tracks. I actually do have a set of true-false questions based on the tracks. Right? They're all going to be on different parts of questions about the tracks. A little bit, maybe a couple of questions on the brainstem and the cranial nerves, but they're going to be obvious enough to where they're not long, drawn-out true-false questions. Okay. In fact, I'll just give you an example of one. I'll actually read one off of here. Okay. The cerebral peduncle contains the corticospinal tract. You'd have to say whether that's true or false. So basically, that probably puts your sensors on alert, right? So what is cerebral peduncle again? Remember, all the words that we come across would be fair game, right? It's on your handouts when you read it. Remember the way that we did first, second, and third order neurons for ascending, right? You want to look at those for the descending tracks as well, right? So, like, could you do that for the way all of the descending tracks operate? Don't forget about the nerve receptors for each part of those special systems. What are the nerve receptors for the semicircular canals versus what are the special nerve receptors for the utricle and saccule? What's the receptors in the cochlea? And then, of course, with the receptors in the eyes, we talked a little bit about that. Remember that cool little slide we had about the cochlea and the way frequencies are picked up on different parts of the cochlea? So know how that works, right? Like where do the low frequencies go versus high frequencies, and what's the implications of that? Yeah, then all of the cranial nerves. Don't forget glossopharyngeal nerve. Don't forget the connections in between the eyes and the ears, the medial longitudinal fasciculus. Yeah, there you go. Should be